Phil, this is your first blue?
It is.
All right, well you keep going then, eh? Keep going.
One interesting thing when you're fishing in Kona, you notice a lot of the lures have got vinyl skirts, and there's a lot of positive reasons for doing that. But we're really lucky here. Kevin is actually going to give us a full demonstration on how to put vinyl skirts on your lures. So this is going to be pretty interesting. Kevin, what's one of the main reasons for having vinyl skirts as opposed to the standard rubber?
Well, as you can see, well, we got two different shapes here. We've got a swimming head, like you've got right here, which is going to have a lot more wiggle to it and a lot more action. Our bullets, which are more hydrodynamic, like these two right here, are basically, we want them kind of weighted in the water where it's going to create more of a black smoke trail, whereas the swimmers usually are going to create a big white smoke trail. So we kind of want these to just tickle the surface. So by having the rubber skirts on it, there's a little bit more weight added to it, holds it into the water a little bit better. Because again, like I said, these are pretty much stationary. They're staying in one place, tracking in one place, and they don't really need the action and the looseness of the skirts that the vinyl provides.
Right. So this just enables that lure head to rotate a bit more.
And we've got what we find too. I mean, it's a very Hawaiian thing. You know, it's like I'd say 10 years ago, if you saw vinyl on a boat anywhere else in the world, there was some sort of Hawaiian influence on that boat that brought that there. The cool thing about the vinyl too is you can fit a lot more different shapes of heads, you know, with more hips on them or less hips, or a bigger head that would be harder to slip a rubber skirt over the top.
That's right, because you actually have to custom make each skirt to each lure.
Unfortunately, that's the labor that's involved with all that is the cutting and the shaping of the vinyl. Then we decide on what colors we want to put on it. We're going to put on a classic color, what we call bumblebee over here, which is a salt and pepper vinyl with what we have here we call newels, which we'll do a yellow and a purple. When we put the newels on...
And that's that internal piece up here, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Sure is. And we like everything, you know, pretty much weighted. You know, a lot of these lures have belly weight in them and stuff too, so they'll run straight and track straight. So when we put our vinyl on, some people will put, or the newels, I'm sorry, we'll put on the bottom here, on both sides and the top. We kind of pretty much, to keep it balanced and fair, just do the bottom and the sides. Right. By putting it up on the top, you might get, tend to get a roll or two off of it. Yeah. So the main part, what we do is we figure out what color scheme we're going to do and all that, which tends to be the most labor intensive is figuring out what color you want to do. Exactly. And how we fit this onto the head to get it size is we put the vinyl upside down right over the head, and then I'm going to wrap her around, and not tight, but wrap her all the way around to where I come to the seam here, right on top of there. And I'm just going to go ahead and put myself a mark there, and that determines the size of the vinyl that we're going to be using. Let's go ahead and measure that up so we can get it cut. Again, like I said, this is the labor-intensive part. Once all this stuff is cut and shaped and stuff, then kind of the fun part starts. Really is seeing what you're building. So we'll get this first piece cut here. There we go. So we'll put that piece aside over there. Okay, so now we've got our piece set here, which, as you can see, we'll wrap it back around just to make sure that we do fit, and we come back to our seam right together, which will work out perfect, just like so. So that's a good start right there. Okay, and we don't want it overlapping at all. No, we get it overlapping. Yeah, we want it right there on the edge, and then for our finishing little deal, we're gonna super glue that seam too, so it'll just be perfect on that. Being overlapped and stuff, it just it kind of looks, it doesn't matter, but it just looks kind of sloppy. Okay, now so we know how long our legs are that we're going to cut. I take the vinyl piece here and I'll fold it over to see about where I'm going to tie it into the neck of the lure here. So I'm seeing about right here, so I'm going to take my marker right there, and then same thing, we're going to draw that across. That just gives us a reference of where to stop cutting.
It's called experiment.
Oh yeah, yeah. Of how much you can get away with, or. Okay, so you see, this is pretty much the part that takes a bit of the time, but we'll get her done here shortly. Okay, and here we go. Okay, now we got the vinyl cut, so we're all ready to go. Attach our inner skirts. The bottom, I tend to put a little bit more of the weight. I'm gonna put 7 on the bottom, and we're gonna do 3 on both sides, and that would vary on the size of the lure and stuff too. So I'm gonna get a piece of floss, and this is just your wax floss right here. This is the 35 pound. You can use a 70 if you want, but I think 35 is suffice enough. Okay. Some guys will super glue it too to let it, you know, sit a little bit easier. So what I like doing just at the very end is folding my tabs over.
Oh, that's nice, yeah.
And that way it just gives a little bit of extra security where it's not, you know, it's definitely not going to come off of there. And then you don't have to do any cutting and stuff too. So you can see how it all lays right back.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And then we'll just finish that off with a knot. We do an overhand knot. Nice and light one. Grab our 2 sides. And then that will slide all the way down with tension on there. And then we'll just do one more finish knot there. Boom, we're done on that. So that part is over. So now we've got the newel right here running along with the weight here, the belly weight. And then we've got the bow on the sides here. It kind of keeps everything all nice and even. That way we've got a pretty good balanced lure right there right now as we've got. And now the next part is putting on the vinyl. And this is what we spend all of our time cutting. So we're gonna get our floss again. Okay, so again, now when we put this vinyl on, we're gonna end up achieving the color on the outside. But to do that, we're gonna actually put this on upside down away from the lure. We're going to bring the edge of our vinyl, line it up with the edge of the top of our lure, about like so.
So you want that join is always on the top of the lure?
Yeah, it's, you know, some guys will put it on the bottom. I've just gotten used to putting it on the top. You put it over off the side or whatever. I just, you know, I don't know if it'll make it perform different, but it just looks. If it opens up a little bit on the top, it's not going to affect it as much on the bottom. Exactly. So we're going to bring it right up on here, keep her all lined up with the spline of the lure there. Hold her with our thumb, and then we're going to bring her right around until we meet again right here at the back. And then we take our floss here. This is a cool little deal. Make a little loop on the end of it. So we've got our 2 legs here. Make a little loop. I pinch the loop, hold it there like so. Hold my one tag end out, and then I use the main part going around. That's going to help serve the finishing knot. It'll actually help suck up underneath there. Okay, and then that little loop that I was holding earlier with my finger up here on the side, I'm just going to take my tag end of my floss. I'm going to go right up underneath there just like so. Take my other piece right here, and that sucks it up underneath there. Okay, so now when I do my finishing knot. Oh, just one overhand.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, it just kind of just makes it a little bit harder for it to come apart.
Yeah, that's right. And it loops it right around the whole bunch.
Yeah. So now you got the whole part going there. Just one little locking knot, and voila, we're good. And now this is the fun part. So now, as you see, we've got our vinyl put on here just right where our seams are lining up. We've got our newels on, and now to make this lure look like a lure, we fold this inside out. And now we have our lure skirted with the vinyl and the newels. We're not done yet though. We're gonna bring this together, the seam. If you just threw it out there like that, I've seen a lot of lures start to wanna roll, the water will catch into the seam and stuff, and it won't work right. So I'm just gonna cut a little bit of this leg off here and say, and we're gonna end up putting it over our seam here.
Yep.
Put super glue on top of that, and then we're gonna pull our seam together so everything.
Oh, and then glue it onto that.
Exactly. So everything's gonna go right, just perfect, just like so. We take our super glue, which we just use regular super glue from the hardware store instead of the expensive stuff. It's the same ingredients. We take her and dab a little bit onto the vinyl down here, a little bit on the floss. Bring it right here, so the seam's gonna go right in the middle. You can see, and I'll press her down, hold her for just a little bit. Okay, so now so we're gonna do the same thing now. So take our super glue also and just zigzag, zigzag. You don't want to put a whole lot of super glue. The less is best. It's basically locking out the oxygen is what makes it stick. So as you can see, I got the super glue on right now, and I'm gonna take both of these legs right here. I'm gonna pull them together, just like so.
Yep.
Pull them away from the lure, and just basically kind of wipe on that seam over there for just, like I said, it doesn't take very long. Okay, now we've got her on there, and then just kind of squeeze it a little bit just to fluff her back up.
Yeah, that's awesome, eh? Like you can hardly see that.
So now no water can roll under it or over it, and it looks pretty. You're not seeing any different cuts or anything like that in there. And one added little thing I like to do here is, once I get it to my length, is putting a small cut on it. Okay?
Right. Yep.
The reason we do that is you've got less chance of a hook grabbing the middle of the leg here, as opposed to this where it's cut a little bit. It's going to have a little bit harder trouble to getting on there.
Yep. Wicked. That's really good, eh?
Yeah. Just takes a little bit of time, but it's super satisfying once you get her done, and when you get her out there swimming and she goes the other way, that's what it's all about. So.
Yeah, and like you say before, that some skirts don't fit that well.
Exactly.
Whereas now you can customize it to any lure head, and I think that's a really cool thing. So, well, thanks very much, Kevin. That's awesome, mate, showing us that, and great to share that with all our viewers. So, thank you.
My pleasure.
For all the rods, reels, lures, and terminal tackle, and some great advice, call in and meet your team at your local Hunting and Fishing New Zealand store. And for more inspiring online fishing content, visit journeyofaFisherman.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel.